Well, we're here at the Clown Festival and we welcome now Dan Bremnes. Dan, welcome to New Zealand.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, when we say welcome to New Zealand, you've been here so many times, I think, honestly, you should apply for a New Zealand passport. Particularly, I think, the whole fly south for the winter thing.
Yes.
You know, let's make this your double summer home.
We could put that on a TV ad. I could be like the poster boy for getting people here in January, February.
That sounds like a great plan. So, I mean, coming back to New Zealand, what's the best thing about New Zealand? What keeps bringing you back?
Well, there is the whole, it's warm here when it's freezing cold in Canada. It's also nice to rub it in a little bit to my friends over social media. So like they have icicles and snow and they can't even start their car and I'm surfing, which is nice. But that's just a very small part of it. I guess it's great to be able to do music here. It's great to be able to connect with people here. Most of all, I just feel like God's opened the doors for it to happen. And every year I pray about doing it and somehow it works. And you know, I'm assuming God has a bigger and better plan beyond me just getting some sun and having a lot of fun. I'm sure he's doing work, you know, and we've seen that. Like I did a bit of a tour leading up to Cloud Festival and just hearing stories from people coming out and just really being touched by God, and that's really the reason why we do it, yeah.
In terms of that tour that you've done leading up to Cloud Festival, it's been with Tear Fund along with Strawn, another artist we love. The Follow the Sun Tear Fund tour, and I know you've done stuff with Tear Fund in the past too. It seems to be an organisation, a cause that you're passionate about. Why is that? Why are you personally so keen to be involved with the work of Tear Fund here?
I guess to make it really specific, I grew up like knowing a lot about poverty and hearing a lot of it, being on missions trips. For me, I was really numb towards poverty and I didn't really do anything about it just because I couldn't figure out how to fix it. So a friend of mine really challenged me to sponsor a child through Tear Fund, and that's the thing that really changed my view on poverty, basically changed my whole worldview. And I'd say aside from, you know, giving my heart to Jesus, that's one of the biggest things that's happened in my life that's kind of, I guess, changed the way I see the world and seeing God move powerfully in people's lives. So any opportunity I get to speak about Tear Fund and share that experience with people, I usually take that opportunity, yeah.
Hey, from a faith point of view, what inspired you in that direction? Did you grow up in a Christian home? What led you to become, well, not just a musician, but a Christian musician?
Well, I did grow up in a Christian home, pastor's home, so that's like double Christian, right?
Yeah. Super
Christian. And I guess I always wanted to do music, but for starters, it was more for my own reasons. Like, I just want to be famous, I just want to be on stage type of thing. And so when I really had my experience coming back to God, which was when I was about 18, God really changed my heart and my life. And then all of a sudden, I started to see the bigger picture and how God can use a song, a worship song or a Christian song, like a faith-based song, to reach in and do some amazing work in someone's life. So that's when I was like, I have to do this for bigger reasons than myself. And to be a part of something that's bigger I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, if your music then is not just about yourself, but about being part of something bigger, as you say, and being used by God through your music, what is it, I don't know, is there one thing maybe that you would hope that people would take away or that they would understand about God or who He is just through your ministry, I guess, and what you do?
It's a great question. I guess I hope that people go away feeling that God isn't so removed from us, because I think sometimes it's easy to feel that, like God's this guy in the sky and I'm here on earth and maybe one day I'll see Him when I get to heaven. But God, I mean, the Bible says that He knows the number of hairs on our head. He's counted the tears that we cry. So He is interested in our everyday life. And I hope that, you know, people feel closer to God and realize He is accessible right here and right now. And His Spirit is everywhere. And He lives in us. So yeah, I guess that would be my main hope.
In terms of personal changes in your life, becoming a dad, your son Eli, and how that changes the way in which you do things in terms of your priorities, what's important to you, how's that been for you?
It's been all right. My wife is probably the one that's feeling it the most because I can't wake up in the middle of the night. Like, I get like physically sick. Actually, when we had Eli, I was up for 2 nights and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be like the dad that gets up all through the night and helps. And I actually got sick for like 2 weeks. So
you had the morning sickness. It's kind of weird.
That's right. So we've got this deal where she'll be up with him during the night if he needs it, and then I'll wake up real early and take him for the morning. So we kind of, you know, share the responsibility. But for me, it's been like this big surprise of how awesome it's been. Because I think as a young parent, you get into it thinking like, oh, I'll have kids, I'll do my duty, you know, just like bring someone into the world and just do it for God, you know. But I didn't realize how much joy it was going to bring and how much of an incredible experience it was going to be. So we've been really pleasantly surprised, and it's worth all the diaper changes and all the sleep you miss.
In terms of changes in your life, other ones, you're from Canada, of course, but these days based in Nashville, I understand.
Yeah.
And I guess being the hub of Christian music, and I think it was last year you toured with Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Yeah.
What's it like kind of being involved in that, or for want of a better word, that Christian music scene?
I guess it's almost the equivalent of like a 7-year-old going to Disneyland, because it's everything that you want it to be. It's like everyone that writes music, every artist, every producer, every label, they're all there. So it's like everything's within 15 minutes. So for me it was, and Britt also, it felt like coming home a little bit. It's like we feel like we belong here. We feel there's so many people that are doing the same thing. So it's just been a breath of fresh air. They're missing maybe a few mountains, lakes, and ocean, but other than that, it's great.
Hey, what's 2015 looking like for you? What's the next big challenge for Dan Bremnes? What have you yet to achieve?
2015 is looking really fun. I'll be on a few tours, one with Hawk Nelson and the Afters, and then I'm going out with David Crowder for a month or so. So I always tell people, as a musician, as an artist, you only ever see your life like 5 months in advance. Like, I honestly never know what's happening past that. So, and I feel like that's how God has kind of really grown and challenged me in faith, is I like to have things planned out a little longer than that, but I can only see so far, and I feel like that's what God's used to really kind of grow our faith and really just to focus on what's ahead. And so I pray and hope that those tours, that they're a really good time, and that God, you know, kind of touches a lot of people. Yeah.
I know that God has particularly been working not only through our stations in New Zealand, but right around the world. We know that your song Beautiful has had a big impact, and I actually made the mistake, I think, of telling Andrew that it was my favourite song at one point last year, and I meant this as like a, you know, sort of heartfelt, I really love the message behind the song, it's really spoken to me, and suddenly it turned into something quite different.
No, to be fair though, he's always like singing the song at the top of his voice, and yeah, he's a little bit of a fan about this. In fact, George, you got your selfie stick here today, and you were hoping to get like a Dan Bremnes selfie at Cloud Festival.
I've been hoping to get a selfie with George too, so this works out
so
really
that's
good.
why you came here, is to get...
Partially.
Wow, oh, that's cool. Well, while George is setting up the selfie stick, the song Beautiful has impacted a lot of people. What's the story behind that? What inspired you to write that song?
Well, I was pretty excited because that song is 12 years old. I wrote that song like kind of when I came back to God. So it's an old song for me. It's not a song that I expected to be a first single, but when I signed with Sparrow in Nashville, they listened to all my music, and I'd written a bunch of new songs, and everyone decided like, hey, that's the song that we should lead with, that should be first. And I think the reason is maybe just because it came out of I wasn't thinking about radio, I wasn't thinking about recording, I was sitting down on my couch and just had a moment with God, and just had this revelation like, God, you took my life broken the way it was, and you turned it into something beautiful. And really, that's the message of the gospel. You know, when Jesus came to earth, he said he came like a doctor, he came for the sick. And I think every single one of us would look inside of ourselves, whether we're a Christian or not, and realize we're broken. And the gospel says it doesn't matter where you've been, what you've done. The gospel takes you, and Jesus takes you in, and he turns it into something beautiful, and turns it into a story for his glory. So yeah, that's where it came from, and it's really encouraging to hear people, you know, from not just Canada now, but the United States, New Zealand, Australia, England, Germany, like people just tweeting and talking about it. And for me, it's like, man, this is so cool to see what God can do with a song. Yeah. Well,
hey, whatever 2015 brings you, we do hope that you can put into your long-term plan regular trips back to New Zealand.
I hope so too.
And really great to have you here at Cloud Festival.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. Are we going to do this
selfie
now?
Yeah, right now.
Do I want to be in it, or is it just a thing for you two? I think it's just for you.
I mean, maybe we do too. Maybe one of the two of us. And
I can photobomb it. That'd be great.
Do you want to stand or sit?
I can we sit, and then Andrew can photobomb.
All right.
Oh yeah, totally.
There's even clouds in the background, which is fitting since we're at Cloud Festival.
That's why they named it.
It's all sand.
Yeah.
Okay, if this thing's gonna reach, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we go.
All right.
My phone's moving. Very good.
Nice.
Dan Bremnes selfie.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Appreciate
That's
it.
cool.
It's awesome.